Hey everyone, guess what? Oh my God, we're here with Jon Davis. Not Jon Davis from Corn, from the mighty Conan. Um, John, again, I know you're not feeling well, so I greatly appreciate you taking time out of your day to hang out and chat for a little bit.
All good. No, you're welcome. It's just a bit of a head cold was seems to have hit me over the last couple of days, so I'm just taking it easy. So it's nice to be here talking to you.
'Tis the season, right? Like I think everyone's getting sick right now.
I know
Motherfucker.
it's come on me the last couple of days, but that's life. I've not been ill for a little while, so I don't mind it.
Right. Well, it's better than the tour ick, right?
Yeah, I always seem to get strep throat when I'm over in the US. Like honestly, the last two tours for sure. I don't know why, but I've literally had strep throat or had to go to the out of hours and get it dealt with, but not the out of hours, the
Like the urgent care.
urgent care, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's not so bad.
No, no, but fuck that trying to like sing and yell and play with strep throat. Like,
Yeah. The last time I had it wasn't too bad, but the previous time, I think we were in Los Angeles and I got either in Oakland or Los Angeles, I ended up getting an appointment in the urgent. Maybe it was the day after the Los Angeles show, but it didn't affect my vocals at all. It just affected just like in between because I think the adrenaline in the show just kept me going. But the actual like the in between times, I was like hot and cold all the time and just wanted to lay down when I got to the venue, and it was like, oh, someone just you have guns in America. Someone just shoot me now and put me out of my misery, And thankfully that didn't happen. But I felt like shit between the shows. But for once we were sound checking and all the rest of it, didn't feel too bad. I think I've got your wonderful food to thank for that because you got a lot of the food is lots of calories and that gave me a lot of energy. So it wasn't so bad, really. I
yeah,
can't
well,
complain.
that's cool. Like, yeah, we do have high caloric foods. We like to be, fat and happy, as we say.
Nothing wrong with that.
Not at all. So I know you guys just announced in the last couple of weeks tour in the States with Weedeater.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's gonna be cool. Super excited. We've toured with them guys before, and
2016, right? New Zealand and Australia.
uh-huh, yeah, and that was the first time we met them. And prior to that, my only sort of exposure to Weed Eater, I've been obviously just listening to them on my iPod. And I remember back in the days when I had short hair and an office job, listening to God Luck and Godspeed on my iPod, getting the train home one time thinking like, whoa. And I was listening to them and Bong Zola at the time, and they like similar sort of like the vocals are different but kind of similar in the way that Mike and Dave deliver their vocals. And I remember thinking, wow, this is wild. Like it was sort of like an avenue into metal and sludge that I'd not listened to a whole lot of up until that point, and it really got me hooked. And we've I've been a fan ever since, and obviously we've become friends now after not just touring in Australia, New Zealand, but also hanging out at festivals where we've met since then. And me and Dave are almost used to each other's sense of humor by now, so it's pretty good.
Hell yeah. I think that's going to be it's going to be a tour that I think a lot of people are super interested in. At least a lot of people I know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and
Hopefully, it's been
I
we like you say we tour America quite a bit, and we really enjoy our shows there, and we don't often support other bands when we play in America.
right.
Because we're sort of at a level where we headline our own shows at a certain level, so it's nice to tour with a band who also has a pull. It's something that's apart from Black Label Society, which was like a different vibe, really. I wouldn't say that we shared an audience really with Black Label Society,
Right.
but I think we do share an audience. There's some overlap there between us and Weed Eater, so I'm really excited to see how the crowds are. I think it's going to be awesome.
I think the crowds are going to be wild. And I know, so I'm in Kentucky and you guys are playing Lexington.
Oh yeah.
And um, you're playing the Green Lantern, and that place is I've seen, I don't know how many shows I've seen there, but I think between you guys and Weedeater, it's gonna fucking rip that building down. Like it's
Yeah,
not real big, so everyone's gonna be
yeah,
like,
be tight.
yeah,
That's
it's
cool. I love playing those kind of shows. I don't really care how big the room is as long as it's full, you know. So we got a nice mix on this tour, so, much like our own tours. You know, we got some smaller rooms, some medium, some big. And we're at the stage now where no matter what room we play in, it always tends to fill. So having been on tour with Weedeater, who arguably have a bigger pull than us, or at least the same. I'd say bigger though for sure. They certainly got a lot more history than us and a bigger fan base, I would say. Having having both of us play in the same room is super cool. Like, as a fan, I would love that. So, um, I'm just really excited to hang out with them again as well. As much as playing the shows is going to be fun because we love what we do in that respect. Those lads are just like so cool and they're just so much fun to hang out with. So there's I'm looking forward to it from that angle too.
hell yeah. Well, like I'm obviously fan of both. I love, I didn't get to see your last tour,
Yep.
but you guys played
Came close to you, did we? We
duet.
didn't. We didn't come close to Kentucky or Lexington, did we?
Well, so you guys were in you guys played Youngstown, and I had plans to go up to Youngstown because my friends in Crop played that
Oh,
show.
uh-huh. Yeah.
And I was like, fuck yeah. And then we had some issues to take care of at home. So
Yeah.
I gave my tickets away to some fan who had a great time, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Fair enough. We'll look forward to seeing you in Lexington then.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. I know. So in 23, you guys lost Chris, you brought in David.
Yep.
How has bringing David in like affected what you do? Has it changed trajectory at all?
It's hard to say, to be honest. I don't know whether I think it's kind of inspired me to sort of play more like a noisy parts, sort of like more expansive, just kind of experimental noise parts, certainly on the recorded material. And obviously because of that, we played those live now as well. They did start to creep in a little bit with Chris, honestly, but with David as Fudge Tunnel Link, I feel a little bit more like sort of like as if it belongs in our kind of delivery now. So you'll see more of that on our forthcoming recorded material, which we're going to start working on before too long. But yeah, I mean, Dave and Chris sort of overlapped a lot, or their time in the band. Like Chris has got a young family, busy home life, successful producer, and quite understandably, he couldn't juggle everything. So there were occasions when Dave had to step in for Chris, a few festivals here and there. He toured with us once or twice, and it just kind of when Chris told us that he had to step away, we were sad, of course. But then when Dave come in, it didn't really feel like an upheaval because it didn't feel like we're bringing in anyone new. It just having Dave around more, which is lovely because Dave like is such a nice guy. We love him, we love him, and I mean that. He's a nightmare in airports because he always seems to get into trouble in airports, and he's a bit like being with Dave is a bit like playing like a survival computer game because he has to smoke every 5 minutes, and if he doesn't, his mood drops and something obviously happens within his brain. And if he doesn't have a whiskey every half an hour, similar sort of thing. So you got to keep Dave going. He's like an old car. You got to keep topping up the
The whiskey
coolant.
and cigarettes, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what keeps them going. But musically, obviously we've written one album with Dave, and we did one split that we did one 10-inch release, which we're going to work on a follow up on soon. Uh, I don't know. I mean, it's just nice, Dave's just great. So no better than Chris, no worse than Chris, just a different atmosphere. But in terms of how the music is written, yeah, probably just a little. I feel like I want to inject a little bit more experimental stuff in there. ra rather than there is no real big change really because I was feeling like that anyway.
Yeah, that's cool though. I'd like personally, I enjoy when a band decides to experiment and go kind of not really change their sound, but move away from like the traditional like song structure and have
Yeah,
look for a little more oral assault, if you will.
yeah,
Um, it's interesting to see where that goes. Now, I on the last album, I enjoyed I enjoyed some of those just atmospheric, like let's see what's going on here. That was
yeah.
a lot of fun, and that DIY series, the three songs, obviously the Fudge Tunnel cover, like that was
Uh-huh.
it was fucking great.
Yeah. Thank you. We enjoyed putting that song on record because we played it live a handful of times. Once with Max Cavalera on vocals with us at a festival in England. That was fun. So it felt good just to kind of record that properly and kind of put it to bed. Feel like we don't need to play it live now because we've kind of got it on record. So we'll see what covers. We might do a cover on the next one. I don't know yet, but we're in the studio soon to do a follow up. We're going to record our like second 10-inch DIY release. So that'll be cool.
Hell, that'll be a lot of fun. Are you finding it hard to find plants that will do the 10-inch records?
No, no. The main one in Europe, we have a company called Disc Manufacturing Services who will act as a broker for that. So no, not at any. I mean, I've not gone to them yet for the second one. You know, when we have the music ready to press, I'll be able to answer that question again, I guess. But it doesn't seem to be any issues really. Why have you got problems over there with it?
Yeah, I've noticed say in the last 5 years, a lot of companies are moving away from the 10-inch. Like
Okay,
some of the companies that we use to press the last couple of 10 inches, they just don't do it anymore. So it's like, oh
okay.
shit, no, don't, you know, keep pressing them because I like them,
Yeah, it's a good format to release on. I like it, and it's kind of a bit of a novelty, I guess, because it's less common than the traditional 12 inch, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely less common than the traditional 12-inch. I think everyone moves to a 12-inch, but it's got that, for me, it's a nice balance of it's more music than the 7-inch, right? Which at best you're getting 15 minutes
Mhm.
and you don't have to have a full like 40 minutes. So you don't need a full 12-inch.
Yeah. You put 10, 12 minutes on each side. I think that's the maximum they wanted us to do last time. So I think we kept well within that. And we
Yeah,
might, I don't know how much music we're gonna improvise a lot of it, honestly, in the studio. So um as it stands right now, I couldn't tell you how much music we're gonna put on there, but it's gonna be cool. We're excited. Got lots of ideas. We're just gonna kind of go with the flow when we get in there, you know.
that's super cool. I like the idea of going in without like a real plan and just saying, "Hey, let's fucking see what happens because then it's fresh, it's new, you know, kind of helps the listener like, oh, what's coming next? I don't know, we'll see.
Well, and that's a question we ask ourselves when we're recording it too. We on the last album, a lot of it was improvised. We uh I recorded a lot of riffs and ideas at home using a drum machine, and I love working like that because I know that a lot of Max Cavalera's music, Nail Bomb is a famous example, was written along to a drum machine. So not that I want to sound like Nail Bomb, but I think it helps to write in that way because it gives me license to be a bit more repetitive in the riff writing, and I don't feel bad about sort of writing longer passages. Whereas sort of writing it in a rehearsal room with Johnny and Dave, which is lots of fun. But I feel like I don't feel as comfortable just writing longer songs in that way. It feels like when we're writing the songs, I like to be on my own, sort of working on it with a drum machine. There's something about that I'm able to sort of go on a journey easier.
Like a creative freedom.
Yeah, it feels like it. Yeah, like quite naturally when we're in the rehearsal room, you'll get to a point where you can sort of sense the other guys are like thinking, okay, are we done now with this part? Whereas a drum machine never says that, or never, a drum machine just keeps going regardless. So I just feel like I I'd rather the lads be there, but I quite like that. I'm used to now writing riffs with a drum machine. But on the last album, we those ideas that I had on the drum machine, I'd listen to them over and over, walking the dogs, and then I was thinking, yeah, I need to change this bit and this bit. But by the time we got in the studio, we just like Johnny hadn't played drums on any of them really. So the first day or two was just writing the drums and recording them as we went along, and then obviously the guitars and that over the top. So it's more fun that way, to be honest. We recorded quite a lot of studio albums, and keeping it fresh for ourselves is important because we want to maintain our own interests. We're not just recording this music just because we're in a band, we want to record it because it's fun and it's exciting for us to do. And then, we get more of a buzz off playing it live then because it's something we know we've enjoyed creating. And so like, we don't want to improvise it 100%. We go in there with some ideas, but yeah, seems to be how we do it at the moment. It's cool. And like the last album definitely has parts which were not expected when we got in the studio. Um, and I think because of that, fans who've been listening to the album like, oh, I didn't expect you to do that or that. And I say, well, neither did I. We didn't expect to do that either. Like, combining pedals and having like noise sections and all the rest of it. I think it's important just to keep things fresh without diverting too far from our well-trodden path. We got obviously Chris is our producer and always has been, even when he was in the band. And I think it's important that we don't just change producers every album because we want to sound like how we sound. We don't want to having new producers sort of crazy ideas on what they think we should sound like. We trust Chris, and I think because of that, you see more of an evolution in our sound rather than any sort of revolution. That's the right word. That's not the opposite of evolution, is it? But nothing we've done really is upset anyone from album to album. And I
Right.
think that's because we got like we're quite consistent in terms of the team that puts things together.
I
Absolutely.
think you're right though. It's a very like, going through your catalog, I think there's a very natural like evolution within the band that stays Conan,
Yeah.
which which is funny. Like we look at some of these bigger bands. I refer back to Deftones a lot because you listen to them and every album is you can listen to any song and go, oh, that's off that album.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's off that album. They're all very unique within themselves, which there are every time an album comes out, their fans are like, oh, I really like it, or I really fucking hate it. I wish they'd do
Yeah.
X again. Like, shit,
Yeah. It's just
you
easy
know.
for like I hate being told no. And I hate in a musical sense. I hate being like, oh, that's not such a good idea, is it? But for some reason I can take it off Chris. So I don't mind it when Chris says, maybe we should do this and that, because I trust his opinion. I don't think I'd enjoy it if I was with a new producer who I hadn't really,
Well,
you
there's
know,
no rapport there, right? So you don't know like where that line is. Whereas I think with a relationship with Chris, he knows like, hey, one, you could probably do better than what this is. We can change this or change that,
Mhm.
which is more like a coach than someone saying no, right?
Yeah, yeah, we don't, I've just got no experience of working with anyone aside from Chris. So I think I'm 49 now. I don't think I want to start. So quite happy. So, and I think what that gives us is consistency. So, and I want that. I like having consistency with our artwork. We use Tony Roberts on everything. Consistency with our producer. So as long as Chris is still alive, he'll probably produce all the rest of our music as for the life of the band, which I uh I like being able to say that. It's cool. I'd hate not to have found my guy yet
Right.
in a production sense. And I sense with other bands maybe they haven't either. And that, I feel bad for them. I'm really grateful that Chris does all of our production because it's perfect for how I want us to sound.
Well, and I think that every band is kind of like every person, right? Everyone's going to do something a little bit different. So, it's awesome you found your productions person, and that's the person you trust, that's the person you want, because I think that probably allows you to be more creative and try some things that,
Yeah,
with someone new. Otherwise, you're going to be like, okay, we're going to write a pop album, and they're
yeah,
like, yeah, great. No, I
yeah.
don't want that.
No, he's sort of like Chris. Sort of like we're tethered to like a central point, and which is our core sound. And with Chris, we sort of like can venture slightly away from that, but he won't let us go too far from it, and we don't feel like going too far from it. And I think having Chris there, who's centered within that core sound, because he's created it for us, I think it's just really cool. I'm dead happy that we met all those years ago, and it's been a really good, strong relationship since.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that's fucking awesome. God, that's
And he
so
makes
fucking
he makes really good tea as well. Because you don't want to go to a studio and they don't know how you like your tea. Because when he goes, I'm going to make myself a brew. Do you want one? I'll say yeah. He doesn't have to say how strong do you want it. He doesn't have to say do you take sugar in it? Do you want milk? All of that stuff. He just knows, and that's just as important.
yeah. That's that part, like, it kills me, the difference between like the UK and the States, because over here we're like tea. No, we want coffee.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm a big coffee fan. Don't get me wrong. I've not had one yet today, but I have had a cup of tea already. Because I've got a bit of head cold, I thought, well, I'll just have a cup of tea. But now that you've just mentioned coffee, I've got a good coffee machine downstairs. I'll be making myself a double espresso before I get going today.
Hell yeah. Man, double espresso sounds good.
Hell yeah,
Hell
no
yeah.
way.
All right,
Mm.
I'm going.
And you
So
know,
when you guys come over, is there a show or a city you're really looking forward to playing more than the rest?
you know, not really. No, but there are some places which are, but I'm not going to say because if I say, then everyone else is going to feel bad. But I'll tell you, we've had some amazing shows in towns where we've never played before. We've had some amazing shows in cities and towns where we have been a few times before. Like Omaha, Nebraska is always good. Um, Los Angeles, Brooklyn, Seattle, Portland, Eugene, uh, Detroit's always cool. Phoenix. There's so many. Like I couldn't say I'm not looking forward to that one, or it's hard to say.
Right.
But obviously, over time, you expect a bigger crowd in certain places, and quite naturally, they are the bigger cities. But it's not always like that. You're playing some places where you don't expect, and a big crowd turns up.
Omaha, Nebraska.
Omaha was awesome, and
Yeah,
just yeah, and lots of other places. I'm just picking there because it jumped out. But I wouldn't say there's any places w that I'm more excited about than others, honestly. It's just you build up a bit of familiarity with certain places over time, and I enjoy that feeling.
yeah.
But playing new places is really exciting because and we're doing that for some of the shows on this tour. We're playing some places for the first time. I don't know whether we've ever played Lexington before.
You haven't.
No. And there's lots of other examples of that. And I think Weedeater are used to playing these towns that we've never played. So it's a great introduction for us, and we're really grateful for them having us along because we get to place, in front of people who maybe have been listening to us for a while but have never had the chance to see us.
Yeah.
The social media response to the tour announcement has been insane. So yeah, we're just dead excited. I mean, I love America anyway. Um, I love the country. I love the people, I love the music scene, I love the food, I love the driving around, I love the scenery, I love the cities. It's a cool place. Like my grandmother, rest in peace, was a massive John Wayne fan, and they always had country and western playing in the house. So I've been doing the same, just listening to Waylon Jennings or listening to the Highwaymen. That's that. And one song that's been getting me in the feels that really lately is the song Highwaymen by the Highwaymen. It's just such a good song. I think really if you look into the lyrics, it's all about like reincarnation. You know, I died, but I didn't really die. I've come back as something else.
Yeah.
And that's a really hard hitting thing. So yeah, it's just a lot. And lots of the bands that I grew up listening to are from the US. So it just means a lot that we get to play there. It means a lot that we've been accepted into the music scene over there. And that people come out and support us and make it, possible to come and play there because you don't get a visa if you can't prove that you've got like a bit of a standing. And fortunately, we've been able to prove that, and we got our visa every year without any hassle. So yeah, I'm looking forward to all of the shows.
Hell yeah. So when you're over here, do you go and do any of the like go by any John Wayne like movie sets and go, oh, grandma would have loved that shit.
No, I've not done that actually, because we tend to be just on rails, don't we? You got to go from here to there, there to there. You don't really get a lot of time to take a trip out. Plus, it I wouldn't know where to start, to be honest with you. I'll have to research it though. Now that you've said that, I will have to research it. And I was thinking just the other day, it'd be cool to like go and like catch some real, country shows. I don't know where to go for that. I'll ask people when I'm there, I guess.
Nash
And just,
Vegas, Nashville.
Nashville, you think that's the one? Just go and see some people there.
So Nashville has the thing about Nashville is at any point, like during the day or night, like starting at like 11 in the morning till probably like 2 in the morning, you can go see a country band fucking play. They've
Cool.
got, I don't know, there's down Broadway,
Yeah.
there's probably, I don't know, 50, 60 different bars, and there's bands in every single one of them.
Wow. Okay. But I don't think we've ever been to Nashville. Maybe that's somewhere I'd go on holiday rather than squeezing it in for a couple of hours in a tour.
Yeah, that's it's definitely more of a vacation type of town. A
Hmm.
lot of shit to do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cool. I just, I'm not, I can't underestimate really just how much I love touring in America. It's amazing. So thank you
Favorite
to,
place to tour?
sorry,
Is it your favorite place to tour?
it's in a lot of ways, yeah, yeah, I'd say it's also our biggest. If you look at it from a business perspective, it's where our main fan base is. Europe is also big for us too.
Yeah,
Um, Obviously you got a large population there, but in terms of like the percentage of our fan base, it's mostly from America. So
that
I love that you've got like the sort of like the vibe in New York, and then you got like the vibe in Albuquerque, and then you got like it's a bit different in LA, bit different up in Portland or Seattle. I just love all those differences. It's just super cool. Just like um I just we're just really excited to go over there. We always are. I feel like a big soft kid whenever I talk about it, but I'm glad to be able to say that I get giddy every time we get a tour planned in America because we really genuinely love being there.
hell yeah, that's super cool. Well,
Mm.
when you guys are here in Kentucky, we might have to get you and go and do a bourbon tour before
Oh
the
yeah,
show.
that sounds not too many, but that sounds great. Dave will be all over that, and so will Johnny. I'll have one or two because I'm like the tour dad. But yeah, we'd love that. Thank you. That'd be
Well, like so the bourbon tours, like you go to a distillery and they just walk you through it and you fucking check it out and you don't even get. I mean,
oh,
you
I
just
thought
get a
you
I
get like a
mean,
sample. Is that what you
yeah,
mean?
yeah. I mean, if you want, we can go get a bunch of bottles. I don't give a shit. We'll just toss them back,
Yeah,
whatever.
it'd be the worst show ever if you do that. I thought you were. We have a thing called a pub crawl in the UK. Have you heard that phrase?
Yes,
Okay, so that's what I thought you meant. But
gotcha.
but both sound cool.
Yeah. So we do the fall here too, but like uh I think so. I live in Louisville, and Louisville we have the what they call the Bambi crawl, and it
Okay.
starts at Bambi's bar, and then the I mean the goal I'm sure is very similar, a drink in every bar
Wow.
down the street.
How many bars?
I don't know, there's probably 30.
Fuck. 30 drinks? My God.
Yeah.
I'm like I'm not a big drinker. I'm just not very good at it. I was all right. I'm in my 20s, yeah. I'd like, have a few drinks and whatnot, but nowadays I'll have two or three. As soon as I feel myself getting a bit tipsy, I'm like, okay, I don't want a hangover, so that's enough for me.
Yeah, I've got an allergic reaction. I either break out in fights or handcuffs, and
Okay.
I'm like,
You can come along and we'll have like a big fight in the middle of the street. That'll be,
yeah, yeah. I'm not a big drinker anymore. I quit.
yeah.
God, I quit a few years ago, and it's so my nephew knows all the kids like know I quit, and we went to a show, and I got a liquid death,
Uh,
big can, and he looks at me and he goes, "I thought you weren't drinking alcohol." I'm like, "Dude, it's just water. I swear."
yeah. It feels good to drink that stuff out of the can because you don't feel like,
Out of place.
yeah, you're drinking it from a plastic water bottle or like a glass, and people can see it's water is different then. But I mean, most people know what it is now. But when those cans first come out, you did feel as if you were drinking a beer,
Yeah,
or you
yeah.
looked.
Yeah, you're like, oh, they're not going to think I'm weird because, I'm drinking something different. But,
Yeah,
at the same time, I'm also 49. I don't give a shit, like I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I don't want to get arrested. I don't need to get in a fight. It's like, I just want to watch the show. That's it.
exactly. Well, I couldn't afford to get arrested because that means you won't get a visa and they won't invite us back, so I have to stay. But
Yeah.
I've never been in any trouble anyway, but certainly not through alcohol. Oh no, I did take a piss on the wall of a pub once outside, and I got called over to the police car, and I think he just said, "Don't be daft, go home." So I did. That's my,
Okay.
that's the extent of my lawlessness.
Yeah. I mean, better than Ozzy getting arrested for pissing on the Alamo.
Yeah, we don't want that. None
No.
of that. No, my grandmother would be ashamed if I did something like that. So I won't.
Yeah, no shit. She'd be like, John Wayne was there. What are you doing?
She had a clock and the hand like the it had like a mechanism underneath. So with each second, John Wayne's legs sort of went like this from side to side like this. It was super cool. I always remember that.
Yeah, do you have it now?
No, 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 it's long gone. Long gone.
Maybe we're gonna have someone out there has knows where one of these is. Find it for John.
Yes, please. If they bring it to the show, they can get free merch. So that's a genuine offer.
Oh shit. There you go. That's
But
a
I'll only the first one. If 20 come, then I'll only take the first one.
so you've got to be the first. Sorry. Like,
Yeah, that's it. Got to be the first. Yeah, but that's a genuine offer. If someone can find me a John Wayne clock, then let's do it.
hell yeah. That's a good fucking offer. Damn it.
Yep.
Someone's gonna have a John Wayne clock at the show now.
Yeah,
At one of them.
let's hope so. We'll hang it up in the tour bus, and then I'll take it home with me.
Yes. Yeah. Don't bring 20 because that'll be expensive to fly home.
Yeah, it will be. And we probably get charged import tax when we get home as well. They'll be like, You've been buying these wholesale for your online shop or something."
Right. You're like, no, I just have fans. I'm gonna have John Wayne clocks all over my house.
Yeah, seem to be obsessed now with like this is just a business subject. Like when travel to the US, we get stopped now and asked if we've got a carnet, which is like a list of all the equipment we're bringing in. And then we have to then check it on our way out of the UK. We have to check it on our way into the US. And then we have to then on our way home, we have to check it out of the US and back in the UK. And it's just crazy. We're just bringing like, a guitar and pedals and whatnot. And obviously they're just trying to make sure we're not bringing stuff into the country and then selling it. and not paying tax on that sale. And then, and only just yesterday, because I didn't come home with Dave and Johnny after the last shows we did, I stayed a few days. The the customs and excise want they came to my house. So I had to like drive to my storage place and get my knackered old guitar in his guitar case, bring it back to the house, and they had to actually check each item. So there's reading out like the name of the guitar, and I had to show them the guitar. He's reading out the name of my pedal bag, my pedal board. He wanted to see each individual pedal, my guitar cables, all to avoid. I mean, even if I sold all of what I took in the US, I probably owe them about £70 in tax by the way it's all worked out. But they sent like two agents to the house who waited an hour and a half for me while I went to get my stuff from the storage. It's crazy. But
That that seems
I
like a
don't know.
waste of resources.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It's like a crazy system. But anyway, that was just a little segue there. Thought I'd
That
drop that.
that's all right. That's so I never thought about that. That's, that itself is kind of weird. Like, has it always been like that when you come over?
It's become more strict lately. Um, Before lockdown, I don't recall us being asked for if we've got a carnet, which is a European word. I don't know what it means in French or whatever it is, but just so you got to like, but they got a whole system set up now. Like we have to, I mean, this is useful for anyone else listening who's traveling to the US from outside of the US. We had to pay for a carnet, which cost us, I think, £550. We had a local guy deal with it, a fellow called Roger, and you get the documents to your house then. So then you have to get them signed on your way out of the UK. But the people who deal with it are after you go through security, so you've checked it all in by then. So all you show them is your documentation, but they don't know what you've actually checked in. So there's no like link there. When you get to the US, we did get asked for it in Chicago, but they didn't check our equipment. They just took our word for it. I mean, obviously we were honest because we didn't want to get in trouble, but they didn't check it. Then on our way back out to the US, it was sort of the reverse of that procedure. But the two lads who come to the house yesterday, they were lovely and like no problem with them, man. I'm happy enough to go along with the rules. But they were like, yeah, they don't no one really knows what to do in the airport. They just yeah, and they were sort of being a little bit critical of it, the whole system themselves, which was interesting to hear, to be honest. So we shook hands. They everything's in order. They left for the day and went back to their office or whatever it was. It just seemed like a really over the top process. For I mean, I'm just like we're just going. We're not taking guitars over there to sell them. If I
Right.
wanted to sell my guitars in the US, I'd sell them. I'd sell them on Instagram or Facebook, and it'd take me half an hour and send them through a courier. I'm not going to book a flight and then fly them over myself. It's insane.
Yeah, no. You know, it's funny. I think one of the issues that this doesn't I hope this doesn't be taken as political, but like one of the issues that I have with a lot of the governments is there's a lot of they have so much bureaucracy, but
Yeah.
they don't connect anywhere. It's
Hmm.
no one talks. Oh, well, we're going to do this. Oh, cool. Well, did you talk to him? Because he just did the exact same thing,
Yeah.
but he also checked my stuff. Oh no, we just want to see the paper. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. It's daft, isn't it? I also I'm not really I'm not really interested in. I mean, I'm interested in it, but I don't pass any comments on political stuff. Certainly not on
right,
an
right.
online video before a US tour. But we like on our last time into the US, obviously we have a visa, or it's all legitimate, and everyone we deal with have all been lovely and great. But when we entered Miami in December, they were asking us for the carnet, and we were able to show them all the paperwork that they needed. But we all three of us got taken in the back room, sort of like escorted through the airport by like by a border agent. which kind of felt a bit heavy when, what we're doing is coming over to play a few shows. We're not the Beatles in a private
Yeah.
plane. We're just three lads who just coming to play a handful of shows. We were only playing three shows, but and once we got in there, the guys and girls behind the office there, they were just super cool. And I know the systems themselves are strict, and I get that, but we've never had any problems with any individual members of staff, and they're all been awesome. So we, we respect that they've got a job to do and just make sure we had our paperwork in order. So thankfully, we've never tried to get away with anything. We always have the visas and all the rest of it, and it's just not worth the hassle. And I think that's
No.
helped us. Means we can come back without fear of getting into trouble.
Right. Yeah, and it's, I think there's not an individual where you're just like, oh, you asshole. It's just like the amount of steps that has to be taken there. I'm sure there are times where it feels like, oh, this is maybe a little bit of overreach, but
Yeah, it can. Yeah, I think at first we were surprised when the visa process is strict, but of course it's strict. I used to work for the UK Home Office, so I understand, and I did that over lockdown temporarily just to make ends meet. Um, so I understand why the rules are there. Obviously, I've got first-hand experience of it now from that role that I had for a short while. So I get it, totally get it. I mean, from a band's perspective, kind of like having to pay for a carnet and then sort of having people come to your house to check it all over. That all seems a bit much, really, when we're just going there to play a few shows. I wonder if it could be handled in a way that they sort of have a look at the size of the tour and they know what equipment you're bringing in advance and you just get approved on that basis rather than it sort of be like piecemeal at the airport where you got to go through security, then you got to find this red phone that's on the wall somewhere random. That's what you have to do. And you got to find the red phone, pick it up, and say, "Oh, hey, I've got a carnet. Can you come and talk to me at the desk?" So someone will come out of side office, and they'd look through the carnet. You've already checked the stuff in, so they can't like check that you've got that guitar that you're declaring that you have. And it does all seem a bit disjointed, but I guess it's not. It's a it's a system that's been implemented after everything else has already been set up. So I guess they're trying to find a way to make it work within the structure that they already have. So it's just one of those things. We
yep.
we 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 kind of we follow the rules. I would hate to be one of those bands who tries to sneak things through here and there because the anxiety must be terrible. I'd hate to feel that way.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine. Like I was driving on some ice yesterday and my anxiety was super high and I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
not mm,
Especially
no.
after a few double espressos.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're already like got the jitters. Like you sound nervous. Like no, I just drank like fucking six double espressos. I'm just super hype right now.
yeah, I hate that feeling.
That's so funny. Um,
Mm,
have you I was gonna ask a question and it totally went
okay.
whatever.
It happens. You're
It does.
49, it's gonna happen more and more now.
I fucking know, dude. It sucks.
Yeah.
When's your birthday?
29th of May.
Oh shit. Okay. May
Yeah.
13th.
Okay, that's fair enough. Well, you're older than me then. Fine. I was gonna
Yeah.
say you look a lot older than me as well. You look approximately 16 days older than me, if I was gonna say.
Yes.
So I'm glad you said that.
My wife is she's older than me. Her birthday's in June, but
Oh
she
yeah.
was she was born the year before. So she's
Okay.
50.
Okay.
Got a friend who is his birthday is right before hers. And
Yeah.
so they're the same age for like 11 months and then I catch up, right?
Yeah. 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 That must feel good.
Oh yeah. So this year, like she turned 50, he turned 50, and she's like, "How old's Dion?" I go, "Oh, he's your age." And
Yeah.
she's like, "You mean our age?" I'm like, "No, you're 50. I'm
Yeah.
not."
Yeah.
She
You
says,
can still say you're in your 40s. That's a luxury. You can say, yeah, just in my 40s. How old exactly? No, it doesn't matter. I'm in my 40s.
"Right,
Leave it.
for at least a couple of months."
Yeah. in my 40s. I'm going to stick
It's
to that as long as I can. I might even say it after my birthday, just for a month or two, and just let it go slowly.
yeah. Well, I think we have to inch into being
Yeah,
50 plus. Like, shit.
a whole new decade. We're going to be dead soon, so we gotta just take the small victories.
You know, it's funny you say that because one of the things that came up yesterday for me was like we've lived more of our life than we have left.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's true.
It's
Probably.
probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do not want to live to be 100.
No, no, me neither. By the time you get that old, you've probably had enough by then.
Yeah, that's why they're all old and crotchety and shit.
They're all pissed off, and they're like, "Have I got to eat this? Have I got to eat this breakfast again?" I was hoping I wouldn't wake up,
Yeah,
but I did. So I got to eat these shitty eggs, put on these shitty clothes, do my shitty routine, and I'd rather be dead. And I bet you loads of people when they get to that age are probably like that. But I bet you when having family around would probably it'd be nice to the long if you got you explained there you got family earlier on. So that's lovely. They can look after you until your old age. That's cool. That's I mean I'm lucky that I have children, and Um, I know that sort of growing up, as long as I'm not too much of a pain in the arse growing up, I'm gonna have, you know, I've got a son, I've got two daughters and a stepdaughter. So I know that I'll be well looked after. Whatever nursing home they have me in, I'm sure I'll get visitors regularly. So I'm okay with that.
yeah. I hope I do not live to be that point. Like if I get to a point where I need to be in a nursing home, like you said, we are in America, we have guns. Just someone put me out of my misery.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What you want to do is when you get to your 70s, just eat awful food literally every meal. And then something will happen within the next few years if you just don't look after, like just sort of give up looking after yourself for when you hit 70 and then see what happens.
yeah, I don't know that I'll live to 70.
I think you will. I think you will. Yeah, you will. You will.
Probably.
You live way beyond that. So
God,
you're
I
gonna,
hope not.
yeah. Well,
Uh-uh.
you just gotta, no matter how old you live, you just gotta enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, that's where the music comes in, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Still go to shows at that age. I mean, if you're still going to shows when you're 100, you'll be the coolest guy in that room for sure.
probably can't hear shit, but definitely the coolest guy in the room.
Yeah, and if you headbang, you'll get a terrible sore neck for
Yeah.
weeks. So
Yeah. Yeah. What happened? Why is he in a neck brace? He was at a show last night again, that son of a bitch.
yeah, went to see Earth, and he was headbanging so hard his head fell off.
Yeah. So, like for you, when you started playing music, did you think you would be almost 50 and, still going and playing everywhere?
Um, I didn't give that specific notion any thought. No. I mean, I started playing music in my late teens. I was in bands in my 20s, but really not really had anything to show for it of any of those bands. And then I started Conan, and I just felt like I was sort of whisked away by the tide in a way. And I was like, wow, I'm part of a scene now. Never had that before. And then we had fans. I was like, oh, I've never had that before. Then we got an email of someone in Germany saying they can put us on at this show. Had someone in London saying you can play at the Purple Turtle, which was I don't know whether it's still a venue or not, but I remember back then it was a cool place to play if you were in a doom or sludge band. And then it was only after that I started to become aware of where we were at that point. Like we were sort of people who would be into Electric Wizard would had discovered this new band called Conan. Cathedral fans had discovered this new band that were called Conan. And, from we all of a sudden, without me really knowing what I was getting into, found ourselves as part of this scene. And I remember when we got our first demo and sent it off. And we recorded Horse of Battlehammer eventually from those tracks. And by then, we'd had like reviews in stonerrock.com, and a few other people seemed to know about us. Um, and it was only really then when I started to think, oh wow, this could be something. I could, we'd start playing shows at weekends. Got asked to play Roburn a year or two later, and it just sort of snowballed from there. And I think maybe 2012, 14, I started to think that I wanted to do this full time and properly. And indeed, in 2013, I made that jump. Um, and I've not looked back. But I was 2010, 15 years ago. I was 34 when our first album was released. So I think I came into it quite late. So I'm sat here now talking to you at 49. I don't feel like we or I have been around that long, really, in
Right.
terms of Conan. So I'm thinking, wow, will I still be doing this in my late 60s? Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I still feel like it's early days in a lot of ways because, like I say, we really only got going really when I was in my mid 30s, which doesn't seem that long a time ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not when we look at, especially a lot of the larger bands. Like look at Max Cavalera. I mean, he's been
Mhm.
going for 40 whatever years now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Uh,
he started out he was probably in his 20s when Sepultura started, right, playing
uh, I think they were teens. Yeah.
teens even. Yeah, okay. So I never had that. I mean, I couldn't play a note when I was a teenager, and I was more interested in playing football and drinking um, when I was a teenager. So I think I got my first acoustic guitar when I was like 17 or something, 18, and didn't really have a great deal of interest in it at that point. But I just started getting guitar lessons, and eventually I remember thinking I wanted to play live. I remember sitting down at home on a school lunch break telling my friend, I'm gonna play shows when I'm a bit older. I'm gonna like play in front of a crowd. Didn't really know what that meant at that stage, but I'm glad I've stuck to that promise.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are glad you stuck to it.
Yeah. Not my kids who am away a lot, so they're like, Dad, where are you this time? But now they're old enough to understand, why I've stuck to it all these years. Some people get an office job and work their way up, whereas, being in the music industry, just something something I was interested in all along alongside my regular normal office. I worked in HR for years, and the band was always something on the side that I wanted to grow. And I deal with band stuff in my day to day. I had like a BlackBerry, and I was just on the phone all the time dealing with band stuff. And eventually, I was touring that much that I had the choice of either sticking to the day job or I had to go one or the other. So I stick or twist, as they say. So I decided to twist and went for it, and I've not looked back. So I'm really happy. It buys me a lot of time that I wouldn't have had if I'd have got an office job. And I mean, like, obviously 8 or 9 hours a day sat in an office being paid to do that. Then you travel around it. But then when you're at home, you think about the job, and then you wake up in the morning for the 2 hours before you leave the house. You're thinking about the day you've got planned ahead of you. It takes over your whole life.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'd rather think about wizards and computer games and music and guitars. If only I could do that. And eventually in 2013, I was able to jump and do it full time instead of it just being something on the side that I dreamt about. I was able to sort of live that life.
Well,
And,
and I think, I think having that dream and going after it, there are so many people who have, dreams or wishes, right? And they're like, man, I would really like to do this. And they never take that step. So then kind of back to what we were saying before, when you're 70, 80, 90 years old, you look back and go, man, I wish I would have tried that. Failed or not,
yeah,
I wish. And I think the older we get, the less regrets we want to have. So we're less likely to say, no, I really don't want to do that. As much as I'd like to, I don't think I'm going to try it. It's like, fuck it. Why
yeah,
not?
yeah, go for it. Like I couldn't give up now because that would be an insult to the relation. Like I always said, it's had took its toll on relationships in the past. Um, and it also all the time that I spent away from my beautiful kids when they were super young felt like a big sacrifice then, and I hated it. But I always knew that it was going to lead to something a bit better, and eventually it got me to the point where it didn't have to work a day job. Um, and now when my 15-year-old daughter finishes school, I can pick her up or she'll get off the bus here and we'll have burgers. I do the school runs with my 10-year-old, a lot of the days during the week. They're here at the weekends. I don't have to worry about a day job. I'm much happier working in the music industry than I ever was working in HR because there's
Yeah.
not much of that job is fun. The best days I ever had was when my boss wasn't in. Because I could just play Eve online all day then on my work PC, just I was a terrible employee in a lot of ways in terms of like I'd get all my day's work done in 2 hours and then I'd deal with Conan stuff for the rest of the day. So yeah, I'm glad I was able to escape that life because it was kind of stressful hiding that from people. But I look back on all that time now and I think thank God I stuck to it because here I am sat up in bed in a beautiful house and I'm able to I've got errands to run this afternoon. I've got a V8 sat on the drive, not an expensive one, but been able to buy like a cheap fixer upper, but I've got the car that I want. Maybe I wouldn't have had though, maybe I wouldn't have had those cool things in my life in general if I'd have stuck to the day job. I'd have earned a lot more money in the day job, don't get me wrong, but I would have had a lot less time to do the things that I want to do.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, the question then comes is the money worth the happiness, right? And I don't
yeah.
think uh, for any of us, I don't think there's any amount of money that could outweigh the happiness. Like there are same thing, right? There are ways that I could be making a lot more money, but I wouldn't be able to go to as many shows. I wouldn't, be able to spend as much time with my wife and kids as I do and
Yeah.
enjoy those. It's fucking
Make all the memories.
yeah.
I mean, my daughters came to one of our festivals a year or so ago and they came on stage at the end of the set, and my little daughter shouted like "Desert Fest" down the microphone, and all of those cool things that are different to the norm, and we wouldn't have had those if I'd have stuck to the day job. But my kids understand that this is what I do, and they ask me lots of questions about it now. And they're both into rock music, and I think that's probably because they see me going and playing shows, and because it's what Dad does, they feel more comfortable about getting into that. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's just I've got a different lifestyle, and their mum is a wonderful person. She's like more like a businessy type of person. I mean, I am too with the Conan side of it. Don't get me wrong, and obviously, I have to make ends meet, so I have to deal with a lot of that stuff responsibly. But they've got like a really successful businesswoman in her own right as a mum, and then they got me who's doing okay in my chosen field, and I think that might be inspiring for them as well, just to see that there's more than one, more than one path through life. I'd say I'm like running through the shrubs in the forest whilst their mum drives down the highway. You know what I mean? That's how I see it. But we're both going in the same direction. I think that's
Yeah.
a cool for the. I hope my kids see that, and when they're older, I hope they understand it.
I think they understand it now. You
Yeah.
know,
So,
it's
yeah.
it's really funny to think about that. That's one thing I always tried to instill in my kids is like, listen, if you want to go and work for someone and, get an education and do these things, that's a great life. You can go, you can make your money, you can live your life and have your white picket fence and whatever.
Yeah.
You can also, if like my daughter's she's an artist, she draws and she's fucking great. I'm like, if you want to do that, you can do that. I mean, she's 19 now. At the time, she was probably like 12,
Yeah.
13. And I'm like, you can do that. You can build it, and get people to enjoy your art. which forces you to get better
Yep.
and do what you love and make money. And she's like, nah, I think I'm gonna go work for someone.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Whatever you want to do is choose your own path. And she's young enough to change her mind at some point if she
Yeah,
decides. Um, it's important to have be to have supportive parents who enable you to make those choices and give you the support if things don't work out because you'll always be there for them, won't you?
that's the truth. So do you find your kids like proud of dad and what he's doing?
I think they find it in some ways, yeah, with a mixture of amusement as well. Like it's funny we're on this subject because yesterday my girls were here and we had dinner and I was just running them. They only live 10 minutes up the road. I was just driving them home and my 15-year-old Alice said to me, "Oh yeah, Dad, we were listening to you in school yesterday." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And apart her chemistry teacher asked was they were just having a chat in class, just like um, a relaxed session, and they were asked, and the teacher was asking Alice, how's your dad's band going?" And it wound up where the teacher played to the whole class. And I was like, "Well, what song did she play, Alice?" And she went Battle in the Swamp. I'm like, "Oh my God, the lyrics are terrible in that track." So I just thought it was hilarious. So Alice, so like, and Alice was like, "Yeah, that's my dad," and I just, maybe that was, maybe she was, she didn't say I was super proud of you. She was talking about it like it was a bit embarrassing, which at 15 is bound to be a bit, all your school friends listening to your dad shouting about some mythology stuff. And I just thought that was hilarious. Like Edie, my 10-year-old, is not, she's too young really to understand everything in context. But she all her friends in school know that I'm in a band, and they should, you, when I go and pick her up from school, I always try and tie my hair up so I look a bit more like the other dads in the crowd. I don't want to, but I remember those days, and I was turning up for school with a battle jacket, with the gauntlet artwork off the old computer game on the back, and I'm thinking people must have thought I was crazy because obviously, like, I'm turning up in the school and everyone's kind of normal, and I so now that Edie's 10, I tend to just black t-shirt, jeans. I don't want to embarrass her, in front of all the other guys. Sorry, in front of all the other parents. So I don't want
I've
that come back on her.
I've always been completely opposite, right? Like I'm gonna show up in my metal shirt and my balding head and
Yeah.
we're just gonna do our thing. And it's funny. So I've always always went to a lot of shows. And so as my kids got older, I'm like, oh, we're gonna go to a show. Like my daughter's first show, kind of going back to earlier conversation again, was Max Cavalera and Igor Cavalera doing the Return to Roots.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
That was her first like metal experience, and
Cool.
she was so nervous going in.
Yeah,
And then we get there and everyone's like, "You're the coolest kid ever." And she was like, "Oh,
yeah,
you guys don't think I'm weird?"
yeah.
Like, no, we're all fucking weird. That's the good thing. So she's been to a lot of shows, and like at one point we were hanging out with we were hanging out with some friends in Cincinnati, and like Testament, Sepultura, and Prong were playing.
Oh yeah.
Well, so she met Chuck and she met a couple of Sepultura guys, and she met Gene Hoglan, and she's like, okay, whatever, like dad wants me to do this. She's probably, she was like 10 or 11 at the time.
Hmm.
She gets a job and she's working with this kid who's a fucking metalhead.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I really, I love Testament, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, oh, they're my friends. And I was just like, now you want to be cool, but they're not your friends. You just met them, like,
Yeah. That's good though. She's been able to say she went to those shows with her dad when she didn't even really know who the bands
yeah.
were. That's cool. I've taken my Alice to uh Cannibal Corpse and Cryptopsy so far.
Oh, they
They're
just announced a tour too over here.
Yeah. So I'll take her to more shows. But she's 16 in a few days, so we'll go to a few more shows before she's too old and doesn't want to do it with her dad anymore. We'll see.
You haven't hit that. For us, it was like when I think when she turned like 12, 13, she was like, I don't want to hang out with parents. But then 15, 16, she was like right back, like, hey, you want to hang out?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Okay.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
I
don't live
find,
they don't live with me full time, so they'll come here for a few days each week. And like I say, I'm only 10 minutes down the road, so in addition to like a planned visit, there's always like, oh hey, do you want to come and get burgers tonight? And I'll make really good burgers, so they'll come here and we'll have burger and chips and like and then I'll drop them back off after a couple of hours. More like a it's like I don't want them to be like I don't want it to be a special occasion when they come and visit dad. I want it
right.
to be like just, maybe is the sort of thing that could happen at any day of the week. So,
As it should be.
yeah, totally. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We have that kind of relationship. It's cool. And the so she doesn't want to hang out as such. Like she's in a room on a phone talking to her friends or whenever she's here. But in terms of going to shows, yeah, that's still on the table, totally. Just
Hell
haven't
yeah.
found just haven't arranged one for a little while. That's all.
Well, and take her to Cannibal Corpse and Critopsy is fucking
Not a bad start.
no, not at all. Like I fucking love Cannibal Corpse. Like they are fuck. I can't even tell you how long I've been listening to them since
Yeah.
Tomb of the Mutilated.
Oh yeah.
Like
I remember finding the album The Bleeding in a record store in Florida when I was on holiday there with my parents. When I was like 17, I think, or 18 maybe. And just started like that's where I discovered Cannibal Corpse. I remember that's when I found first picked up my first Helmet album, first Ministry album. All thanks to Florida, actually. It's funny that. And yeah, I've been listening to Cannibal Corpse ever since. And my daughter, Alice, I said, put on your favorite Cannibal Corpse song. I won't tell you the name of the song, but it's, one of their more extreme, sexually explicit song titles. And I couldn't believe the song she chose. And I thought, my God, this kid has changed so much. Like, because she would never have showed her mum that, you know. So she just put it on in the car. And now, obviously I'm cool with it. So it's quite funny.
hell yeah. That I always love like seeing them live, especially when George is like, this song is about shooting blood from your, it's like
Yeah.
if people aren't familiar, they're like, what in the fuck did he just say? Like,
Yeah. What did he just say? Yeah, I'm going.
yep, time to get out of here.
Yeah.
Um, okay, John, I know that you have some things to do this afternoon. I can't thank you enough for the time you allotted me today.
You're welcome. That's nice to chat.
Hell yeah. Here's what we're going to do in Lexington. Bourbon tour. I'm gonna bring
Yep.
some beef so you can make some burgers,
Yes, please.
and we'll bring some bourbon and just you and I'll have a little bit. We'll let everyone else get trashed.
Yeah, please. Yeah, that'd be great. And then we'll watch them fight in the street.
Yes,
Yeah.
it'll be great. Oh, you guys are playing with Swamp Hawk in
Oh yeah.
Lexington.
Yeah. I
Great
think
fucking band.
yeah.
Huh?
Okay. Cool. I think the name rings a bell. I've seen it on the tour poster for sure, but maybe we've shared a stage with them before at some point. I'll have to check.
Yeah, they're super rad. Great live band. So and they're really close with the Crop Dudes. So
Okay, there we go. There's the link. Maybe I've seen the shirt at that show, maybe or something.
probably.
Mm,
Well,
yeah.
cool, man. Go have yourself a great day. I'll see you here in a few weeks.
Yep. All right. Cheers. See you then. Bye bye.
See ya.